Hello, this is Julia Davis of Yoga Teachers Forum, and I'm here with Nina Rashid, who's going to be talking to us about her session that she'll be running for the forum on the 30th of October from 1:30 till 3:30. Good afternoon, Nina.
Good afternoon. Hi, Julia.
Hi. So it's really, I always ask this at the beginning of my interviews. I'd love to know where your yoga practice began.
Well, mine is interesting because it actually began at the home of India, at home of yoga rather, in India. I was based in the Middle East. I was a stewardess for an airline there, and I was flying around then. I've always been interested in sports, very competitive sports, and I was interested in keeping fit. And I thought, I'd like to take up and try yoga, and I could only find a book. We started flying to southern India, Kerala, Trivandrum, so I did a night stop there. And there was a yoga teacher teaching in the hotel, and I had a private session with him, and then I had a lovely Ayurvedic massage. He was a very Iyengar influenced teacher, an elderly gentleman. And that was it. I was hooked. I then found a yoga teacher in Bahrain, where I was living, also an Indian lady, and I attended as many classes as I could, and then she asked me to start assisting, which I did. And I eventually flew over to the US, to Santa Barbara, to White Lotus. It's owned by Ganga White and Tracy Rich. He's very well known, Ganga White, in the yoga world, very non-dogmatic yoga style. And I trained with them. And that was in 1998, a long time ago.
Lovely. So, and where did you go on to carry on? Where did you take your yoga from there?
I taught living in the Middle East, but I was flying as well. And then I retired from flying, moved back to Europe, and settled in London, and continued to work in the airlines. And then I retired full-time from the airline in 2007. And I went and did Bikram Yoga hot teacher training that same year. And since 2007, I've been teaching full-time. And yeah, the hot yoga worked for me then. It's now petered off. I still teach a few classes, but that's mainly to keep to keep the salary going as well. And I also it's a softer way of teaching now. I teach for a company called Fierce Grace as well. But I have started doing much more voluntary work, teaching charities. I'm an accessible yoga teacher with the Accessible Yoga Foundation. So I'm trying to get yoga as accessible as possible. And that is that's my heart, that's my work right now, what I'm trying to do.
So do you differentiate between your working yoga and your heart-based yoga?
No, because my heart-based yoga is within there when I'm work yoga as well. And some of the students I've been teaching hot yoga for 10 to 12 years, I've known them for that time. I've seen their changes in them. They've left, they've come back. So yeah, no, they blend into each other. Definitely blend into each other. In 2000, I'm trying to get the dates right here, 2012, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. So I had to go through surgery, chemo, radiotherapy, everything. I was still teaching. I had one of my students who picked me up once a month, take me into Old Street, and I teach a class there, a hot class. The doctors were fine with it. Everything was fine. It was great to get out when when you're at the better part of the chemo. And then I went back to it after treatment to teaching. And that's when I also started to change my own practice, because I couldn't practice any longer in the heat. So my own practice started to go back to my original practice, which is a softer, gentler one. And yeah, it's all evolved since 2012. So now yesterday I was just at my local brand new cancer center here at Queen Mary's in Sidcup, and I shall be teaching for them, for the cancer center, chair yoga in 2 weeks' time.
Wow, that is quite a evolution of your yoga practice and teaching that you've run through for me. Can we kind of dial back over the years, because you went from initially kind of an Iyengar style yoga, then to a free style yoga, then to a hot yoga practice, and then only after quite a significant illness did you kind of change back to a softer form of yoga. Do you know what led you on that path?
I think physically as well. A lot of it was physically, because after the cancer treatment, everything changed. My whole body changed. I couldn't do the things I could do before. I mean, you think when you finish your cancer treatment, everything's okay. If somebody asked me once, when are you back to normal? I have a new normal after cancer treatment, a totally new normal for me. And it took a few years to adjust it. Now it was probably last year where I finally thought, right, this is the new me. This is all I can do. I can't do what I did 10, 15 years ago, you know. And so I sort of accepted, and that acceptance is great. It feels so good to accept and think, right, this is it. And I'll adapt to it. And I want to look after other people now and try and give them a new normal, help them with their new normal as well. So that's the cancer work that I'll be doing. But I've also taught people age UK. I've always had that in me. So even since I was a little girl, I wanted to help people. always wanted to help people. So I volunteered for Age UK last year, and I'll probably be doing it in the new year as well. Doing a yoga course for carers, which was quite moving to see these hard-working carers coming into the class, and then to see them an hour later walking out with a smile. That was fantastic.
Mm. So when you were practicing the hot yoga, was that very much a physical practice, or did you practice meditation and breathing practices alongside that?
Yeah, meditation is the one constant that has been with me for, meditation has been with me for 21 years. It's 21 years, yeah, I've been meditation for 21 years. That has been non-stop. Different styles of meditation, different aspects of it. I now create guided meditations, specialized ones and just general ones as well. And people can listen to them.
And were you sharing meditation when you were teaching? Because I've never practiced hot yoga, but my impression of it is that you go in and you do a vinyasa flow exercise class and then you leave. Would that be correct?
That's right.
So when you were teaching the vinyasa flow exercise, were you sharing meditation practices? Were you sharing any other aspects of yoga?
Not in the Bikram style, no, because there's no time, because they're long classes anyway. They're usually 90 minutes, so no. And in a way they call, yoga can be a moving meditation as well. So maybe in the style of the way I was teaching it, I got them to a little bit of a meditative flow, but it doesn't work for everyone. But no, meditation was separate from the hot yoga.
And I've got to ask you, because you said you trained in Bikram, do you have any sensibilities around the issues around sexual misconduct and Bikram and anything connected with that? Are you aware of that? Just frozen.
From class, I don't know, a couple of years.
You just froze then. Sorry. Could you just repeat your, sorry.
Yeah, I feel very strongly about it, and I haven't taught an actual Bikram class for quite a few years now. If I teach a hot yoga class similar to this style, I'll just call it hot yoga or the Fierce Grace, which is a set different type. But yeah, I do feel very strongly about it.
Can I just ask, just aside from that, do you know of any movement, any support groups, anything that's been created to help support the women who were affected by that? I just haven't seen anything from the hot yoga community at all.
The women who were affected by were told, I do remember this, the lawyers told them all to get off social media straight away. So they all went off social media. So there is probably a group somewhere, but it's nothing visible to others, because they were told, you're going to get off social media because it's going to affect you. So that's what happened. But these women actually never got a court case.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? There were accusations, but it never went to court that way, because it was, I don't know, various things. Los Angeles court was different. I don't know. So it's a different court case that he's got against him. That's a little bit different. It's the same thing, but different. You know what I mean? It's more to do with the person who was working with him, who was told to cover up and things like that. That's what it was.
Yeah. Yeah, and maybe it's good that we're having this conversation so that people become aware, because almost every official organisation associated with yoga has had some kind of indiscretion. The linear ones, not the associations, the ones connected to kind of a guru type. There are a lot out there that And maybe it's a good idea just to alert women to the possibility that this kind of thing can occur in the yoga community. So I just
it's I think now again with social media it's helped get people out there. People are writing books. There's groups and you know, for people. These big gurus are just coming tumbling down with what's coming out now.
But it wasn't anything that you personally experienced. You didn't notice anything yourself.
Noticed things, you know, what type of people he would surround himself with, and yeah, it was noticeable, but not in the way that I thought there was anything illegal. That's, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It was just sort of, I just went there. I enjoyed the time because I was in Hawaii, so it was quite nice to be in Hawaii. But it was really tough training, really very tough training, and I just sort of I formed a little clique of friends because we were all a little bit older, and we just stayed away from the whole thing. Just went in, did the teaching and everything we needed to, and then just avoided the whole sort of socializing. And so yes, I was definitely away from it, and I like to spend a lot of time on my own as well, so that was quite nice. I did that a lot during those 9 weeks. It was a tough 9 weeks.
You said that you kind of came like way back. You enjoyed competitive sport. So do you think that led you to doing quite a powerful yoga practice because you liked the discipline? I'm kind of putting
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, no, you're right. That's why the hot yoga felt so good to go in and practice and know it's the same postures, and then come out, and it was really nice. The heat gave me such a nice release, but physically that's all changed. I can't practice in the heat anymore. I can teach, maybe I think I'm doing 2 classes a week. Not even that really, 1 or 2 classes generally, but practicing I had to cut back on that.
Yeah, I think as we evolve as people, our practice evolves as well. So I think I remember I went to a Sanskrit course, and my teacher there said it's the limbs of yoga, it's not the pyramid of yoga. So when you're in a position where you're maybe a little bit more vulnerable, then you might choose to practice pranayama practices and meditation practices, and when you're feeling full of beans and really energetic, it might be a vinyasa flow. It doesn't, it's kind of horses for courses. It's how are you feeling, what yoga practices do you want to pick up. Just leading on from that, I wanted to ask you, because the title of the session that you're leading for us on the 30th of October is Following Your Heart's Path. What kind of thing might you be sharing with us in that session?
Well, it's following your heart's path and knowing what you want to do and trusting your heart and your intuition to do it. But it's also things like heart-opening poses, heart-opening breathing exercises. To me, opening the heart as well means, that's why meditation comes in, just sitting with stuff. Whatever, when you open your heart, it's not all positive stuff everywhere or fluffy pink clouds everywhere. There's dark stuff as well. And opening your heart and sitting with the dark stuff as well, I find is very, very important, because that gives you that acceptance that, I'm trying to, because I'm thinking of the cancer treatment, everyone was, oh, you're so positive, you're so this. I feel like saying, don't see me at home. You don't see me, you see me the good side, you don't see the bad stuff. But I learned to accept the bad stuff and sit with it quite a lot. And the meditation helped with that. Yeah. And so accept the bad stuff that's in your heart, the good stuff, the negative, the positive, and just move with it. I think that I feel it was work with opening the heart, not just sitting with all the good stuff and the pink fluffy stuff, I call it.
So how do you feel, I think you've answered this in some way, but how do you feel that yoga has supported you through the darker times?
It was, in the darker times, it was meditation. It was mostly meditation. I listened to a lot of guided meditations. I created my own. I did sort of quite a lot of restorative on my own here. I'd get my bolster out, my loving bolster, and just lie in a pose, fall asleep in a pose maybe as well. So yoga helped in that way. And also what I think, another thing that I will stand by is that the hot yoga helped build up the strength, so that when I was going through treatment, I managed quite well physically. Because I remember my last chemo, you go and see the doctor the day before when they do blood tests, and they said, they asked me if I was an athlete. They said, your heart is so strong compared to everyone else sitting out there.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, I'm not an athlete. He said, well, whatever this stuff you do, he says, continue to do it because it's built up strength in you. So that was something I'll always remember. One of the top, surgeons saying that. I was quite impressed.
So I can hear that you're teaching the hot yoga and
yep.
you're working with people who are carers or more vulnerable. Do you ever feel that you'd like to share the gentler practices with the type of people who walk into a hot yoga studio?
I do. The hot yoga studio. Yeah, the hot yoga studios I teach at. I also teach yin there.
Oh, so there's yin in the same place.
Yeah, I mean, for instance, on a Monday evening in my local studio here, I teach a hot class, and then right after we cool the room down and change it into a lovely yin class.
Oh, that's gorgeous. So
I know, and several people stay into both classes.
Yeah, so you've got a workout basically, followed by a cool, I mean, like, a much softer, gentler. Yeah, that sounds great. And then I guess, the people who have maybe come for a workout might by accident turn up at the yin class or might use it as a cool down and find out about a totally different aspect of what yoga is.
And some of the studios I teach at as well, there's about 3 of them I teach, they do a really strong vinyasa, and then there's a 15-minute gap, and I'm next door in the next room, they come into my yin class and cool down that way. So yeah, and the studios see that the people are doing these sort of double things. It's really, I find that quite inspiring that they're taking a couple of hours spending them doing yoga, not just coming in and leaving straight, when the class is finished. It builds up a little community, because I know what students are going to stay, and I always say, are they coming in from that class into here to mine? And they say yes. So yeah, I think that's a lovely way to do it.
Yeah. And also, I mean, that's something I've noticed about maybe some gym classes. There's a nervousness around a lot of teachers teaching beyond a 45-minute or a 60-minute session. And it's lovely to know that I know, because all my classes are 90-minute classes, or the ones that I teach, that people do want to have more than that. They want the physical, but they also want the breath and they want the relaxation. And I've seen there's been a lot of compartmentalizing of that, the mindfulness tribe and the breath tribe and the physical tribe. And what I love about yoga is the fact that yoga does combine the 3. So it's lovely to see that that's something that you're experiencing too. So as far as you meditate and you do the physical practice, do you share breathing practices as well in and amongst that?
We do. Yeah, I do quite a lot of breathing myself. I had breast cancer on the left side, so my lungs on the left side and my heart. Obviously, the radiotherapy affects that. I've done some research in that. So for myself, I do a lot of breathing exercises. I read up on a lot of people. I've looked up Max Strom and quite a few people. And yeah, I'm trying to teach that a little bit more. But people need to sort of get into the breathing thing. But yeah, I'm trying to teach that a little bit more pranayama.
Okay.
Because it's helped me.
Yeah. So it sounds as though what we've got to is you've got a whole breadth of yoga experience, from Iyengar through to the more fluid style, through to the hot yoga, and you certainly benefited from all those different styles. And then your personal experience of quite a significant illness has brought other aspects to the fore. So for those people who are thinking about whether they'd like to come along on the 30th of October, would it be right to say that there's going to be a mixture of asana practices connected to Anahata chakra, the heart, and a little bit of kind of personal experience thrown in as well, so that people can feel what your teaching journey has been? Does that sound fair?
Yeah, and yeah, just a little bit of talk about how you can settle and just sit with your, within your own heart space, and then do some poses so you open the heart space, and maybe even a meditation. I mean, I love metta meditation myself. I found that very powerful. So yeah, to a mixture of things, and also let people maybe share a little bit themselves, what they might feel in their hearts. Because it's very much about your own intuition. And I think as you get older, you learn to trust your intuition much more. You're not influenced by everything else. I trust my thoughts quite a lot more now. I trust my body definitely more. Definitely trust that my physical body, because that's what yoga to me is about. Your body telling you, yes, you can do this, you can go deeper, or some days, no, don't, back off, that's pain.
Yeah.
That comes with the yoga practice, and I think with life as well.
Yeah.
And I try to you often hear students say, where should I feel this? Or I'm not feeling this pose, and I'm trying to change that dialogue. Don't have to feel it. You're all unique, you're all different. Let yoga teach your body teach the mind rather than the mind teaching the body.
Yeah.
The mind is full of ego.
That's beautiful. Let the body teach the mind rather than the mind teach the body. I love that. That's beautiful. Really love it.
It is. Well, what I always say when I'm teaching yoga nidra or guided meditations, if you relax the body, it's impossible to have an anxious mind in a relaxed body, and that's the Eastern way of thinking. Whereas here we try and deal with the mind, and then the body will follow.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. The body can lead you, the breath can lead you. We don't need the mind to be in control. Definitely. Okay, so I'm very much looking forward to learning with you on the 30th of October. But in the meantime, how might people find you? Have you got a website or other ways of contacting you?
Well, my website is Yoga Bliss with Nina. Did you hear that? Just where this pinging is coming from one of my computers here. Yoga Bliss.
We'll make sure that it's written in the notes as well, but you can repeat that.
Yeah, I've got a website, and there's the website is my schedules there about me, and also there's some free downloadable guided meditations. So the most popular one is headache release. That's
I bet it is. Well, I'll be having a little listen to that one.
It's very easy to download. You just put everything in except a credit card number. Just it'll email it to you, and then you download onto your phone or your tablet, and it's yours. So
that sounds lovely. That sounds really great.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for that. We will put those details down in the notes, and together with how you can book a place. As always, the Yoga Teacher Forum is a free space. We do ask for a voluntary donation of £10. If you decide to donate the £10, all profits are doubled and sent to the charity shelter. So this is Nina. We look forward to seeing you on the 30th of October, and thank you for joining us here.
I'll see you then.
Thank you.